Hey, everybody. Welcome to the replay. If you're watching the replay, I am so glad you're here. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this whole concept of who you are when you're eating sugar. And I kind of titled it Superman and You Eating Sugar to be a little bit enticing. So I want to talk about this whole concept because when you think of Superman, everybody knows Superman, the cartoon, the movie, there's Superman, and then there's his alter ego, Clark Kent, right? And if you notice, once he puts on those glasses and that suit, he's like this bumbling, nerdy guy. And that's just the identity that is connected to him when he is Clark Kent. And it's fascinating how something so similar happens to each of us when we eat sugar and when we stop eating sugar. And you can apply this to when you eat healthfully and stop eating healthfully, or when you exercise and don't exercise. There's this whole sense of identity that actually influences your success at what you're trying to change. So, for those of you who don't know me yet, hi, I'm Ricki Heller from rickiheller.com, and I help women on restricted diets learn to love their food again so that they can stick with it, lose their symptoms, and live their very best lives. And I was thinking about how when you change one major aspect of your life, like whether or not you eat sugar, there's this ripple effect where everything becomes affected. And you don't realize it at first, but it's very much like that Superman phenomenon, right? So, as an example, when I first stopped eating sugar because my candida diagnosis, it was very dire. And I was kind of in this panic mode and I just cut it all out. And I knew that I wasn't going to have any more, at least until I was better. But at the time, it wasn't like I was thinking about myself as, oh, I'm going to be someone who only eats organic. Hey, glad you're here. Or like, oh, I'm someone who only eats organic, or I only eat healthy food, or I'm not going to have sweets, or anything like that. All I was thinking about was, I have to cut this sugar out of my life if I want to get rid of this rash on my chest. But then something very interesting starts to happen over the weeks, months, years that I continue to do that. And this was something I did unconsciously, but is actually part of what scientists now say is essential for permanent habit change. So if you're looking to change your habits, if you're looking to eat more healthfully, this is something you actually need to implant in your brain for it to hold, for it to stick, take root, and stay with you. And that is it becomes a change of personal identity. So, right now, when I talk about healthy foods, non healthy foods, take a second to ask yourself, how do I see myself in that spectrum? Am I somebody who eats healthfully? Am I a healthy eater? Am I a sugar free eater? Am I somebody who can't live without my glass of wine on the weekends or when I'm stressed? Am I somebody who can't live without chocolate? Whatever it may be, that's the identity that you're embracing, whether you realize it or not. And so, if your identity includes falling off the wagon and eating sugary treats every now and again, then that's what your life is going to be. For me, it was I am someone who never eats sugar. And it took probably a few months for that to settle in and become the way I saw myself. But then what happens over the, like I said, months and years, I went from someone who never eats sugar to someone who prefers a healthy diet, to someone who is adamant about my healthy diet, and not to the extent that I'm crazy or orthorexic or anything like that, but I am adamant about eating the best quality I can. And if I can't, like if when my husband and I used to travel, if I couldn't get organic or whatever in a restaurant, I was fine with that. I didn't let it stress me out. But when I have control over it, that is how I see myself, right? And what's interesting is from there, it goes on and on, and the more you embrace that identity, it's funny how it can grow. So I never considered myself someone who was really athletic. But at the same time, because I'm not eating sugar, because I'm eating healthfully, that's one aspect of being good to your body, being healthy. So I find that more and more I crave the exercise every day. I took up meditation because I want to do something that's healthy for my body. So it's this whole constellation of other effects that come over time because of that. And from that one little shift of, I'm no longer going to eat sugar. So if that's something that you want to have in your life, if you think about, there's no way I could give up sugar for the long term, don't start with that huge identity of, I'm someone who never eats sugar. What you could start with is something that's going to apply for now. I'm someone who is doing my best to eat only clean food, or to eat food with no added sugar, or to eat only healthy sugars like coconut sugar, maple syrup, whatever it might be. And that's a first step that then can lead you further on down the road. It's interesting. I always think of a friend of mine who, she is someone who's in great shape, who eats like a really clean diet. And one day we were chatting and she told me she used to be like a 2 pack a day cigarette smoker. And I thought, there's no way looking at this person now. And she said what happened was one day she was at the office because she used to work in corporate. Now she has an online business, and she went downstairs, and it was wintertime in New York, and she went downstairs to have a cigarette on the side of the building. And she just looked around, and there were all these people huddled and cold and sort of surreptitiously smoking their cigarettes. And she just thought, I do not want to be someone who has to leave my work and go downstairs and have a cigarette every day. I don't want to be someone who smells of cigarettes. I don't want to be someone who's unhealthy. But it was more, she just didn't want to identify with that personality that the stereotype of the cigarette smoker. And that was all she needed to change her behavior permanently. And so now she hasn't smoked in decades, but her identity now is someone healthy, right? So if that's what you're looking to do, sometimes it starts up here with just adopting that belief that I am someone who seeks out foods that do not have added sugar. And then from there, it might move to something else, that I am someone who prefers to eat the foods that don't have added sugar. I am someone who never eats the foods that have added sugar. I don't eat sugar, right? It can be a series of steps like that. But start with that first step, because if you don't have that intention in your mind, then you will never get to that end point of, I'm someone who doesn't eat sugar. I'm someone who only eats healthy foods. I'm someone who takes care of my body. I'm someone who takes care of my mind, right? It all stems from that first step and that first decision to adopt a particular belief and a particular identity. So I hope that's helpful. Please let me know if it is in the comments, or if you have any other questions. I wanted to let you guys know about a workshop that's coming up called Sugar Freedom. And in it, I am going to talk about all things sugar free. So I'm going to talk about not only what are the different sweeteners and what are the best ones, but how can you make changes to your current foods and recipes by swapping out the sugar for something else that's better, healthier, and still tastes just as delicious. So if that's something that interests you, it's the link is rickiheller.com/sugar workshop list, I believe. I will double check it. I'll put it in the comments. I should know that before I come on air, but I will put it in the comments and let you know if you want to sign up for the wait list for that workshop, and you'll be the first to know when registration opens. Would love to see you there. And always would love to answer any questions you have about this topic, sugar, or eating sugar free, anything like that. Just leave them in the comments and I will be happy to respond. I tend to check them every few hours for like the next 2 days, and then I'll come back and answer anything that you have there. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again next time.